You'll remember the story we discussed a couple of weeks ago about a very elite high school in Northern Virginia, Thomas Jefferson High School to be exact, where they were purposely withholding meritorious awards from their best achieving students, like a couple hundred of them, because of equity, because they didn't want to make the kids who didn't achieve those meritorious certificates feel bad about it, right? Well, we've got an update on that story. It turns out it wasn't just Thomas Jefferson High School. There's now, I think, 6 or 7. We just learned of 4 more high schools in the Northern Virginia area that did the exact same thing. Joining us right now is the whistleblowing mom who started this whole story, Shauna Yashar. She's a mom out in Fairfax County. Thanks for joining us, Shauna.
Thanks so much for having me, Larry.
Well, this has actually become a bit of a national story. As you know, Governor Glenn Youngkin spoke out about it over the weekend. Other governors are talking about it and investigating in their states as well. There's a couple of things I want to delve into on it. First of all, do you know offhand how many schools we're up to now that have admitted that they purposely did not reveal to students this very valuable and important information?
Yeah, I think the number now, Larry, is 7 in Fairfax County Public Schools and 3 in Loudoun County Public Schools in Northern Virginia.
And if I remember right, when Thomas Jefferson High School first kind of conceded that this, at first they started pointing the fingers, oh no, we didn't do it, it's the other people that were supposed to do it. They finally conceded and they said they did it because they wanted to spare the feelings of other students. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I had a call with their director of student services in late November about this very issue, and he explicitly said that the reason that they were holding on to them was they wanted to find a time to discreetly hand them out to the students so that they wouldn't hurt the feelings of the students who didn't receive the award.
That's what I thought, because now you see this new narrative coming from these other schools that have all been caught doing the same thing. They said it's because they're short-staffed and they don't have the administrative staff or budget to be able to handle these things. That seems like they've got a brand new story here, Shauna, like they're trying to, sort of cover their tracks.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about people being short-staffed, Larry. I mean, sure, Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology is a magnet school and does have a number of these awards that are handed out every year. But I'm not sure that that same story holds true for all these other high schools throughout Fairfax County and Loudoun County Public Schools. Regardless, they don't seem to have that much trouble handing out awards for, football accolades, for basketball accolades, for other accolades that are going on. So I'm not really sure why the Merit Award would have such a problem with staff being available to celebrate it.
I want to warn you, Shauna, not to raise that as an example, because the next thing you know, they'll say, oh, you're right, we shouldn't give out football awards either. There are kids who don't play football and we don't want them to feel bad. It should also be pointed out that Shauna is also an attorney, and there's an interesting pattern of behavior here in Fairfax County schools where every principal that admitted that this happened at their school, they sent out a letter to the parents, an email, and each of the schools used the exact same language in their email. Counselor, what does that tell you?
That tells me they're certainly running these through their general counsel's office within Fairfax County Public Schools. And also, Dr. Reed, the superintendent of schools at Fairfax County, has launched an investigation where they did hire Sands Anderson, a law firm in Richmond, to do this investigation as well. So I'm certain they're getting advice from that counsel.
I don't have a big fancy education degree like the people who run these elite school systems like Fairfax County Public Schools. But Shauna, if you're spending all this money to lawyer up to fight the governor over a mask mandate rule, if you're spending all this money on lawyers to lawyer up for your transgender policies, now you're spending all these lawyers to lawyer up to sort of hide the truth about what you did with the certificates of merit. Maybe if you didn't spend all that money on lawyers, you'd have enough money to staff up and hand out the certificates in the first place.
It's illogical, Larry, frankly. I mean, multiple times throughout the pandemic, parents like me would go to Fairfax County Public School officials and just ask them to do the right logical thing. And time again, they take the opposite turn. They go the opposite direction. And then they end up in these legal battles. It really is incompetence at its core, Larry, especially when you look at this school board in Fairfax County Public Schools. They just can't seem to do the most logically right thing. over and over again.
Well, and of course, we talk about this because this is a national story. I assure you there are school districts all over this country who have done the same thing, and they don't want the parents to know about it because they don't care about the parents or the taxpayers for that matter. And here we are on Martin Luther King Day, and you've got to think that Martin Luther King, the victims, the students in Fairfax County who were affected most about this are minority students who, decades ago were discriminated against because of their skin color or because of their country of origin. I would think Martin Luther King would be so offended by this, or here we've got kids who have worked hard, actually merited some sort of achievement, and you've got, frankly, let's say it, a bunch of white liberals who are deciding they're not going to give them any accolades because of equity.
It's illogical. I mean, these kids work hard for these particular honors. These are merit-based achievements. These kids, instead of going out with their friends on a Friday night, they sit at home and they do physics problems and they do math problems. And if we can't cheer them on and encourage them, then what are we doing as a society? This should be the people that we are most proud of and most wanting to, put at the top of the pile in the celebrations. And yet their accolades were put at the bottom of the pile and the bottom of the priority list.
What should all the other Shauna Yeshars out there be doing? They're going to be watching this, their moms. It's like, gosh, I have no idea if our kid got this certificate or whether it was delivered in time for college applications. Or maybe they're a rising senior going in next year and they want to sort of get in front of this story. What should they be asking of their school principal or from their school superintendent?
Parents across the country need to do exactly what parents here in Fairfax County have been doing, and that is demanding academic excellence from their school systems. Academics should be the #1 priority of your school boards and of your school administration. If it's not, you need to be asking why. If academics was the #1 priority for Fairfax County Public Schools, this would have never happened. These awards would have came in and the principals would have handed them out immediately. But academics has fallen off their radar and we need to get it back to the forefront of where it should be.
And when professional educators, superintendents, school board members, when they start talking about equity, I think the instinct is, because it sounds so much like equality, the instinct is, of course, we are in favor of that. But it seems to me in looking at this story, Shauna, that when equity is your main focus, that actually gets in the way of encouraging excellence. Am I wrong in that assessment?
You're not. I mean, equity sounds great on paper. Its application, though, is getting muddled in the process. So again, if we really look towards academics and wanting all the students to achieve their absolute best academically, equity will take care of itself. This is you're trying to hit it with a sledgehammer here in the process. So if we try to just give every student as many opportunities and the most opportunities that they can to achieve their best results, you're going to see a much better result from the entire school system.
Also, I've been watching this story. I'm in the DC area. We talk about it quite a bit on my radio program because it's a elite neighborhood here, Fairfax County, to the DC metro. I haven't heard much from the school board members. These school board members who really wanted to be, part of the game and drive the education policies, and they spent a lot of money on their election, they've been rather silent. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I haven't seen any comments at all come out about this. Nothing from any of them. And they've been at several of these town hall meetings that Dr. Reed has been having with the community about these delayed notifications for national merit. It would be nice if one of them had some sort of a statement on this, but to date, they've remained silent.
Well, I think the word of the year is going to be grizzly moms and warrior moms, and there should be a picture of women like Shauna Yeshar right there to prove the point. You got to be a tough mom to protect your kids, especially when it's politically incorrect sometimes. Shauna, thank you for giving us the update. More to come on O'Connor Tonight.